Once celebrated as Singapore's homegrown water technology champion, Hyflux rose from a tiny startup to a billion-dollar giant, only to implode in one of the nation's most high-profile corporate collapses. How did ambition, debt, and a single gamble bring down a national icon? Hyflux began in 1989 as Hydrochem. Its founder, Olivia Lum, was just 28 years old. With 20,000 Singapore dollars in savings, she started a modest two-person operation trading water treatment equipment. But Lum had bigger ambitions. She saw the potential in manufacturing her own membrane filtration products. The breakthrough came in 2001, when Hyflux won the contract to supply Singapore's first new water plant, becoming part of the nation's water security strategy. Earlier that same year, it was listed on the Singapore Exchange. Investors loved the story, a local small and medium enterprise scaling into global infrastructure. By 2010, Hyflux was worth 2.1 billion Singapore dollars at its peak, and Lum was celebrated as one of Singapore's top entrepreneurs. But the real test was just ahead. The turning point? Tuah Spring. In 2011, Hyflux secured the contract for Singapore's largest seawater desalination plant. But there was a twist. Hyflux undercut rivals by nearly half, offering water at just 45 Singapore cents per cubic meter in the first year, betting on profits not from water, but electricity. The plan? Pair the desalination plant with a massive 411 megawatt power station, 7 times larger than the plant's maximum energy demand. By selling excess electricity to the grid, Hyflux could subsidize cheap water. A bold gamble, and it was Hyflux's first step into an industry it had never touched before. When the bet was made, electricity prices hovered around 220 Singapore dollars per megawatt hour. But the gamble backfired. The power plant, meant to fund the cheap water, turned into a financial black hole. Financing the 1 billion Singapore dollar project was another challenge. 6 banks showed initial interest, but once they realized Hyflux's profits depended on electricity sales, they pulled out. Eventually, the project was funded through a shareholders' loan of 840 million Singapore dollars, refinanced by Maybank in 2013. To bridge the gap, Hyflux turned to retail investors. Between 2011 and 2016, it raised around 900 million Singapore dollars through perpetual securities, offering yields of up to 6% annually. Thousands of Singaporeans bought into the dream, but dreams soon turned to dust. When Tuah Spring finally entered the electricity market in 2016, the gamble unraveled. Power sales, expected to make up 90% of revenue, were bleeding money. Deregulation of the power sector and a glut of new capacity sent wholesale electricity prices crashing. The low prices persisted. 2017 marked Hyflux's first annual loss, 116 million Singapore dollars. The following year, Hyflux suspended trading and sought court protection, with debts nearing 3 billion Singapore dollars. In 2019, PUB terminated Hyflux's water contract and took over Tuah Spring to safeguard national water security. Maybank seized the power plant. Rescue deals came and went, from Indonesia's Salim and Medco Consortium, UAE's Utico, and debt investor Aquamunda. All collapsed. By July 2021, the High Court ordered Hyflux's liquidation. A national icon was gone. For thousands of investors, little to nothing remained. But were the warning signs already there? Since 2009, at least 70% of Hyflux's revenue came from construction, a volatile stream. The company was profitable, albeit on a downward trend. On paper, projects looked profitable. In reality, cash flows told another story. Hyflux's operations turned cash negative as early as 2010. For nearly a decade, Hyflux bled cash, surviving only on debt. Its capital-intensive projects demanded constant financing but delivered little in return. In the end, it wasn't just one bad bet. It was a pattern: overreaching ambition and relentless borrowing. Spring merely exposed what was already unsustainable. From a 20,000 Singapore dollar startup to a billion-dollar empire, Hyflux embodied Singapore's entrepreneurial dream. Once a symbol of the nation's water success story, it now stands as a cautionary tale of ambition, risk, and what happens when the tide turns.